Okay, so hello and welcome to the Elite Vortex Racing Formula 2, to the Formula 2 Great Britain race. We're just waiting for the drivers to start here on the lobby. Then we're gonna have an 18-minute qualifying and 50% race. 17 drivers on the grid so far. So we're just waiting for the drivers to start here in the lobby. So apparently having some kind of trouble with the lobby. We're just gonna wait a little bit more. Alright, so apparently we're going out and Gavin is out of the session, he's disconnected, and we are going for qualifying right now. 18 minutes, the clock is starting to tick down, and all those 18 drivers will go out on the track shortly. No wonder what's happened to Gavin, he's disconnected from the session. So we're just gonna wait to see who's gonna be the first driver to head out onto the track. And Gavin now back onto the lobby, and I'm waiting to see who's the first one to go to the track, and that will be Flip Flop Fish, as he is heading out on the Williams. He'll be the first driver to start the lap if he can stay, if he's going to stay on this position, or if he's going to back off just a little bit. And just behind him, it's one of the Alfa Romeos, that's Leroy, going to complete the lap secondly. Then right behind, that's Indigo, third to complete the lap. So we're going to stick out with Flip Flop Fish for this opening lap of qualifying, as the drivers start to head out of the pits. And we're going to see which tyres are they on. So some of them fit in the mediums, some fitting the softs, which is quite interesting. And there's a big strategy game going on. Most of the drivers that have gone out so far are on the soft tyres. However, there are some drivers on the mediums, such as Laurenix. Laurenix is still on the pit, sorry. Such as Venom and Tony as well. These three on the medium tyres are going to be ones to watch out. And as we see Flip Flop Fish on the third sector, going to start his first flying lap right now, as he's out of the final corner and getting going for the first counting lap of qualifying. As he goes around right into turn 1, high speed over the curbs, goes around in turn 2, hard brake into turn 3, goes around the hairpin, all seeming very clean so far for him, down into turn 4, and that is quite a good first sector, no mistakes as I could see so far. He's going to finish the first sector on a 27.2, and coming around now into Luffield, as he comes around on this 180 degrees corner, down onto the straight, down towards Cops. Right now, is he gonna go full throttle through? Just backs off a little bit. That is quite a good lap from the Williams drivers. He comes around through Maggots and Beckett's now, really flying on this lap. So he's gonna end the second sector now on a 1.3.0, and coming around now towards Stowe, braking just as the outside curves begins. Now outside of Stowe he goes onto the final chicane. And here comes Flip Flop Fish to complete the first lap of qualifying. So far that's a 1:26.7 for him. Now Leroy, the second driver to complete a lap, he's coming around. He was 1/10 down on Flip Flop's second sector. He does a 26.9, and just behind him Indigo goes second. And who is next to come around on the line? It's VRT Sam going first. Out of all drivers, Sam goes first with a 1:26.6. So now Tony on the mediums does a 1:27.3, goes fifth fastest. And still some drivers on the pits. Compassion, who won the last race, is on the pits still. Has not gone out for his first flying lap, as Matt goes fastest, a 1:26.2. That's a brilliant lap time for him. And also setting some times here. Venom on the mediums doing 27.6, and VRT Frame going 1:26.9 on the softs. So now, what about the other drivers? One of the Williams coming around into the pits now. That is Flip Flop Fish, who just finished his lap. So now we see Danestar 1.3.1 over the second sector as he now goes around onto the Vale chicane. And what is this lap going to be like for Danestar? Comes around at the final corner, and this will be a 1:27.0 for him. He goes 7th fastest. And now about Lorenix on the medium tyres, coming around to the line. He goes 9th, 1:27.5. Now there's one of the Toro Rossos on the out lap. Then comes Plix also on the out lap. No. So who's going to be next to cross the line and finish a flying lap? So apparently Gavin now is the closest one to finish his lap. He's in a 1:28, which is quite a good time. That is maybe in contention for provisional pole here. Gavin comes around onto the final chicane. And what is this lap going to be like for Gavin? 1:26.6, goes third. And so the next driver to come around will be Volbig, as he's the only driver on a flying lap, as it appears, who has not completed one so far. As he comes around to end sector 2, he comes out on a 1:3.1. So he's maybe a little down on the front runners. What is this going to be for him? As he comes around onto Stowe, round the final corners now. Volbig's going to cross the line. What is this lap going to be like for the Toro Rosso driver? He's going to go 8th. With a 1:26.9 as well, really close to Frane's time, as Compassion and D finally begin their laps. Apparently the Red Bull driver, just beginning his lap on the softs. Compassion on the mediums. Compassion will cross the line first. He will cross the line ahead of Armady. So he's now onto Maggots and Beckett's out of it. Gonna finish sector 2 now. That's a 1:3.3. Quite a good time as he is on the medium tyres. So that might be a lap to beat Tony and be the fastest driver using the medium compound so far. Did he lose a little bit of control out of Stowe? I saw him getting a little bit of oversteer at the exit of Stowe as he now comes around through the final corner. And that'll be a 1:27.3, the fastest time so far on the medium tyres. What about Ahmed D? Goes second. That's to form up a Red Bull 1-2 so far on this qualifying. Plix has invalidated his lap. Now Alex is coming out with a broken front wing already. He's had some sort of trouble on the beginning of his lap, and he's gonna have to pull back to the pits. There's a lot of damage to the left side of that front wing of the Alfa Romeo. So Cohen and Tim are the only ones left to do a lap, and that are still on a good run, because Flix and Alex are going to have to come back to the pits. As we see Cohen right now beginning his lap. So it comes around onto the first corner now. Gets a little bit of oversteer out of turn 4. We're going to see what is this first sector like. So Cohen coming around onto Brooklands. That was quite a good first sector. Not many mistakes done by the Williams driver. Tim is beginning his lap just now. Both Red Bulls are on a fly lap. And they're both on a 1-2. Brilliant position for Red Bull on this beginning of qualifying. As here comes going around in Maggots and Beckett's little lockup going into the last handers. Leroy goes second fastest, 1:26.3. Cohen's lap not looking to be really good after something has gone wrong on that lap. He's not doing really well as he's going to come out onto the final corners. What is this lap going to be like for Cohen? Out to the final corner, and he goes with the 1:27.1. So not a very fast lap from the Williams driver. Now how about Tim? 27.1 on the first sector. Now coming around, nearing into Cops. The yellow flags ahead. That is his teammate slowing down, and apparently is his teammate going to give Tim slipstream down onto the hangar straight? Maybe he is. So that's quite a good teamwork right there in Renault. Tim getting slipstream from his teammate down into Stowe. Tim now almost completing his lap, goes a little bit wide, does not invalidate his lap, still going really clean. Flip-flop finish, goes second, Indigo third. Now how about Tim completing the lap right now, and this will be a 1:26.6, goes 8th fastest. So Ku is still on a flying lap out of the front runners. Venom is on a flying lap. He's currently in 5th, but he's just completed that 1:26.4. So he's probably on an in lap right now. So all of these drivers at the front have already completed their lap, the second runs. There's 6 minutes still on the clock. Gavin is on a flying lap as he just gave slipstream to his teammate on his out lap. So now he's coming around out of Luffield onto Woodcourt. As now he's going to go onto Cops now, ending sector 2. Only Maggots and Beckers to go on the sector, and he's looking to be improving on his lap time. That was a 1:26.6. He's looking to improve on that. He improved 800ths on the first sector, 600ths on the second, sorry. So now coming around on the first, is he going to be able to keep up that pace and maybe try to equalize his lap compared to Tim? What is this going to be like? He comes around onto the final chicane, onto the final corner, onto Club, and he does not improve by just a little bit. So he's going to go second fastest. Now Sam invalidated his lap. He was improving through the first sector, but he has invalidated his run. He's probably rushing back to the pits to try and get another lap in before qualifying ends. The fastest time so far, 1:26.2 by Matt. He's still in first place. That was his first run of the session. So now Tony has improved on his lap as he did it on the mediums before. Now does a 1:26.7 on the softs. So Alex has not completed a lap yet. Compassion down in last position. So coming around is Compassion 1:2.8, but he's already invalidated the lap as well. Now how about Chris or Alex also invalidated. So Plix has also completed a lap on the mediums right now. So just going to keep an eye out for the front runners. Matt is on a fly lap. We'll just see if he can improve on his previous time. He's looking to be pretty clean so far on his lap as he goes round curves, using all of the curves as he can on the outside. Coming around onto Maggots and Beckett's now, going really fast indeed on this lap. Lap is still going well for him. He comes around onto the hanger straight, improving 8 millitenths on his previous time, which was a 1:26.2, the best time we've seen today. As now Matt comes around onto the final corners, onto the Vale chicane, and then comes Club. The only corners left to him now. Comes around onto the final corners. What is this lap going to be? Is he going to improve on his time? Yes, he is. A 1:26.1, and that is a brilliant lap by the Red Bull driver. He's more than 1/10 ahead of second place Flip Flop Fish. That is a brilliant time, and he is the main contender now. He is the one to beat for this pole lap. I mean, do you also... Yeah, not in a really good lap. He's probably done a mistake somewhere, but nobody is on a flying lap at the moment. One of the Williams has just begun his lap. That's Cohen. Cohen's looking to go out of that bottom of the grid that he is right now. He's currently 15th. Oh, and a big lock up there, and he's already aborted his lap. So Cohen, is he still going to go for another lap here? Apparently not. Now everyone on the pits, if they want to get another lap in, they need to come out quickly. Now we're going to go out to the other Williams, Flip Flop Fish, currently in second place. He's improving a little bit on this opening sector. Now coming around onto Cobbs, quick reducing gears, using all the curb as he can. Coming around onto Maggots and Beckett's, does not look like he will improve on his time, but if he can get the rest of this lap right, he might just be a contender for pole here, as he comes out improving on his time, getting slipstream. That's crucial for his lap. He's getting slipstream from his teammate that's just aborted one of his runs. As Flip Flop Fish now round the final corners, he is a contender for pole position here. Round the Vale chicane onto Club. What is this lap going to be? And he is on pole. A 1:26.1 goes faster than Matt, and he is on pole position for the moment. As Sam right now beginning his lap, he's improving by a 10th. He might just be a contender for pole if he can improve even more on that lap time. Tim improving just a little bit on that time. Goes a little bit wide, Tim. Now finishing his lap. His teammate Gavin just follows behind, but he's on the out lap. So now Tim coming around, and he's going to go sick fastest, improves on his time. How about Sam? He's on a really flying lap. He improved a 10th on his first sector. What is the second sector going to bring out for him? That is a 1:2.5. He's improving 3/10 so far. He is a contender for pole position if he can nail the third sector and maybe beat Flip-Flop Fish for pole position. It comes around onto the final chicane. And what is this lap going to be like? He's out onto the final corner. Sam now onto the line, and is it going to be pole? No, misses out on pole position. Goes third fastest. Indigo has invalidated his lap. Leroy is improving a little bit. Venom also improved, but not too much. He's already invalidated his lap as well. Gavin also improving. We're going to keep an eye out for Leroy. And he's invalidated his lap as well. And now Gavin is coming around on sector 3. The clock is out of time. A 1:27 for him. He's 2/10 lower than the pole position time at the moment, but he can just beat some of the guys in front of him and improve his grid position. So as he comes around onto the final chicane, final corners of the circuit. And what is this lap going to be for Gavin? Towards the final corners and out into the line. 1:26.4 goes 6th. Really good lap. Leroy was not improving around on the third sector. He invalidated his time. He's not going to be improving. How about Tony? Tony coming around the line. He's going to improve a little bit on his time. Going to beat Dane for 11th position. And Frayne is the only one yet to complete a lap. Now Lyonix goes 4th. That is a brilliant lap for Lyonix. He only did a lap on mediums before. Now he goes on the softs and goes 4th fastest. A brilliant lap time for the Ferrari driver. Goes 4th fastest. And this is it for qualifying. So Flip-Flop Fish on pole with a 1:26.113. And this is a really good lap time. Sam missing out on second place by only 2 millitenths. So that was a really close time between Sam and Matt. 2 millitenths of a second, splitting second place and third. There's no one else yet to complete a lap. So these are the final results of qualifying. What a brilliant session we've had. Apparently no collisions, nothing really bad over this session going on. And these are your final results. Flip-Flop Fish on pole position. We'll see how's he going to behave going into turn 1. And this is how the full grid will line up. Compassion can only get a lap on the medium tires. He probably tried to go on the softs, but maybe invalidating his time or something like that. So we're gonna head up to the race in just a second. So from Tim to below, they can use all the sets of tires which they want. So this is going to be important. Tim and Alex have tied their times. Alex getting the position, but I do think Tim did the lap first. So that's interesting. That's not the first time I've seen two drivers tie their times on this game, but it's really rare for it to happen. As you see, a cloudy and overcast Silverstone for the race. And all the drivers lowing on. So we're now going onto the formation lap. Is Flip-Flop Fish in first position on the Williams. How is he going to go on the first corner? This is going to be a really tight battle into turn 1. It's always very tricky in Silverstone to go into turn 1, as it's flat out, not much gap to overtake. So don't be surprised if you see one or two cars going off. So everyone is just gonna look to keep their nose clean through the first part of this race, then they see what's gonna go on for the rest of the race. Safety cars obviously can be a factor on this race. As we can see by the game, it's the frequency of the safety cars has increased a lot, and it could be a big factor for this race if someone causes a safety car, not on purpose of course, but if someone causes a safety car, it can shake up the whole race, like we've seen on some previous races, not only in F2 but in all tiers, in all leagues. We've seen the safety car change the way the races are going. So now they're all going to form up to the grid right now. Nobody disqualified from the formation lap. So now what tyres are each driver starting on? So Tim, Amadi, Dane, Frayne, Volbig and Cohen starting on the medium tyres. Tim getting a really good position after tying with Alex on the lap time, so now he has free tyre choice. As forming up to the grid is your pole sitter flip-flop fish, and all the drivers behind him forming up to the grid right now, and all the excitement going on through the drivers right now. Who's going to come out ahead on the first part of this race? Everyone forming up onto the grid. We're really close to lights out. So all the cars are formed up. We're going green really shortly. So we wait for the lights to come up. And the lights are out, away we go, and it seems like Matt got a good start. No, he did not. He pulls up on the back of Flip-Flop Fish, and now Sam tried to do a move on Matt. Didn't work out. Matt stays in second place. Everything looking clean so far into turn one. Matt keeping in second place, Sam in third, and we see some drivers already dropping on their start position. Tony is all the way back on the grid, as we see Compassion losing control of his car, maybe making contact with some of the drivers right here at the back of the grid as they head now into Brooklands. It's a very tight midfield right here. No trouble going on so far on this race. Everything looking clean for all drivers so far. This is a brilliant battle that all those drivers are having. Tim on the medium tyres is going to be one to watch out, as we see Tony is already disconnected from the session. We hope he can get back in time, as all the drivers in the midfield really close to each other and battling a lot, as we see one car going off. That's Volberg, and he's now back to the track, but we saw him going off at Maggots. And there's a battle going for the lead right here. Stowe, Flip-Flop Fish and Matt, and the Williams manages to hold on to his position. Red Bull's going to try to fight back as Tony gets back onto the lobby, thankfully. And now Matt has got a bad exit. He's now under threat from the racing point of Sam. As down into turn one, the first lap of this race is completed. Not much trouble going on. Compassion now into the pits. Sam going for a dive bomb for second place. Now has the outside lane into turn 4. Gets cut off by Matt. Brilliant defending by the Red Bull driver. But now Sam gets really close. He might just have a shot at the end of this straight at going against the Red Bull driver. And he is going to go for a dive bomb, and they touch. Matt goes off the track and Sam goes through into second place. Lonix goes through into third. And Matt drops down into fourth place. Brilliant move by Sam. Now Indigo close to the back of the Red Bull as he tries to go around the outside of Cobb, so that's not an overtaking place. All drivers keeping their nose clean so far. Compassion was into the pits. probably some kind of damage after turn 4 on the opening lap, gave him some damage. So no safety cars, no trouble at the moment. Sam is closing up the gap on the Williams. As there is a train behind Linux for 3rd place. All the way into Volbeek, the gaps are less than a second from 1st to 16th. So this pack is extremely close. All drivers here are really going for it. As we see Sam closing up on Flip Flop Fish, who was a 4/10 gap, now down into 3. As we see them all going around onto lap 3. As here comes Gavin down the inside of Leroy, and he's going to move up into 7th. Meanwhile, Plix is going to go around the outside, try to do a move in the Alfa Romeo. Leroy's back up into Gavin again. Brilliant move, they touch, they banged wheels. Now Leroy's backed off a little bit, and Tim has gone past. What's happened to Plix? He's dropped back quite a bit after all the exchanges. Did he get pushed wide by Leroy? It's now Plix now down to 11th. He was in the fight for 8th. Now Tim really close to Leroy. The DRS is open for all the drivers. Sam really close to Flip Flop Fish. He's going around the outside into Stowe. That's not going to work for him, is it? He's going to go down the inside into the chicane once again, and Sam is going for it. He's up to the lead of the British Grand Prix, and Sam has got through just before the end of lap 3, and that was a brilliant move by the Racing Point for the lead of the Grand Prix. And he's now going to want to open a gap to the Williams so that he cannot get DRS and that he gets struggling with the drivers behind him that are also very close. As you can see, Linux within 4/10 of Flip Flop Fish, but not wanting to do a dive bomb so far, as Williams also has DRS. As we see one of the Mercedes really far back. It's Tony. I wonder what's happened to Tony. He's got really far down the field as there's contact, and Dees gets spun around. We could see that coming. That was a really dangerous move. As Frame closed the door on the Red Bull driver. He's got back going though, but he's lost a lot of time to the drivers in front of him. As now the gap 5/10 for the lead. He's not going to do a move on this lap, but the Williams going to try to get close so that he can do a move over the next lap. So coming around on the final corners, a battle as well for 5th place between Venom and Indigo as they come around ending the lap. All going very clean for those two drivers as they're going to go side by side into turn 1. Venom manages to take the position before the corner arrives, and he's up into 5th place. Now Alex has got himself a 3-second time penalty. So we're trying to search more places that have some action for the moment. Matt is really close to Linux, but they're both on the DRS. It's going to be really tough to pull off an overtake under these conditions. And still our eyes out are for Tim, as he's on the mediums. He's on a different strategy. So we'll see how far can those mediums go, and he will hope that the safety car can help him in one way. For example, if there is a safety car just after the soft runners have pitted, so that Tim can go back ahead of everyone after pitting and on fresh soft tires. That also works with all drivers on the medium so far with Dane, and they see a battle for 3rd place. That's between Matt and Linux. Matt has gone through the Ferrari after losing the position some laps ago. He's now back up into 3rd place. And Sam has been able to pull off a gap to the Williams. It's already 7/10 of a second separating those two drivers. So some action going on here in the battle for 13th between Cohen and Volberg. They were really close going into turn 1. Now the distance has grown a little bit. The gap now for the lead 4/10 as they head into the DRS zone. Can he pull a move? No. Quite a little far for an overtake. That's the best sector 1 we've seen so far though. So as they're going to come out into sector 2, all the drivers still really close to each other and not much trouble going on. This is brilliant racing from all of these drivers. They're all keeping their nose clean, and so the gap for second place is really close now. Matt has closed up to the back of the Williams of Flip Flop Fish. The DRS is open. The slipstream is on. Oh, and Indigo's retired. There's been a crash on the back and Indigo has retired from the session. There's a virtual safety car just before Matt could go through. Sam is diving into the pits and everyone behind him going into the pits. Gavin stays out, Leroy stays out, Tim stays out, and this is going to be really tricky. There's some drivers getting penalties out here. So Sam is into the pits. Gavin is going to be the race leader after the virtual safety car ends, as we see a lot of action going on through the pit lane. As you can see, Sam is still out in first place, out of the drivers in the pits. Larnix, whoa, what's happened to Matt? Larnix is provisionally second place right now. Venom is in third. And I wonder what's happened to both the Williams and the Red Bull. They dropped some places after those pit stops, and I'm really curious to see what's happened to them. Did they have to do a nose change or something like that, as we see a battle for 9th place at the moment? Has any of those drivers pitted so far? No, they haven't. So none of them are going to the end, as you see a battle into cops now between Cohen and Volbeek, as they're now going to go side by side into Maggots and Beckett's, and that's a good move from the Toro Rosso up into 5th place. But now Cohen's going to have the DRS heading out to the Hanger Straight. As he opens the DRS, he's really close to the Toro Rosso. He's got a brilliant exit out of Beckett's, and that is a super move. He gets him before the corner arrives, and Cohen is up into 5th place. As we see a battle between Dane and Tim. No, Tim's into the pits. Now, why has Tim gone into the pits so early for a tyre switch on the mediums? This is a weird move. Did he have wing damage or anything like that? Oh no, he's saving a drive-through. That's a drive-through penalty for Tim. Did he go speedy in the virtual safety car? That's a disaster for Tim, as he finally heads out onto the track. We're going to see right now what was the reason of the penalty for Tim. So we're going to see over here incidents. So not much to see here. Not seeing where did he get the drive-through penalty. Right here. So yeah, that was speeding in the virtual safety car. Disaster for Tim. He's now lost way too many places and a possible chance of fighting for the win. Now all of the eyes are out onto the drivers in front, Gavin, Leroy and Dane. We're all split by more than a second. This battle for 4th is quite interesting between Cohen and Volbeek. So the battle that matters right now is between Sam and all the drivers behind him, but Sam has got a reasonable gap to the Ferrari behind him, so it's a provisionally 5-second lead for the Racing Point as comes around flying out onto the final sector. Larynx has gone up for the fastest lap on 1:30.3, and Alex now has a time penalty of 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Venom 1.5 behind Matt, and the sky's looking to be clearing, so apparently we're gonna have a sunny race throughout. And there's another battle going on here between oh, and what's happened to Flip Flop Fish? Some kind of action has gone on between the Williams and the Red Bull. He's now dropped back behind the Renault of Tim. So as they go around onto Cobbs, Flip Flop Fish really close to the Renault of Tim. And there's been another battle there, out for 5th place, and there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. And the battle for 4th place has gone really wild, as we see Volbeat going down the inside and up into 4th place again. The Raw switching places out here as we see both Gavin and Leroy down into the pits. We're going to see how much time are they going to lose to the front runners. Sam, where is the Racing Point? He's already gone through both of them, and Gavin is leaving the pits right now. So they're going to leave quite far back. And yes, they've left really far back, as we see Gavin coming out just battling with Blix, as we see a collision in Sector 3. And that is the Alfa Romeo's race over, as a compassion flies through him. And Flip Flop Fish has finally cleared Tim out of his way and moves up into 11th. And the battle now for 2nd place between those two drivers is insane. Cohen and Frayne really going fast and really battling out for this position, as we see Cohen with the DRS. Where's he going to go? Inside or outside? Moves late down the inside into Stowe, and that's a brilliant move. But now crossover move attempt by Volbeat did not work out going into the chicane, but Cohen locks up. That might be the chance for the Toro Rosso to try and get the position back, but he can't do it. Going into Sector 3. Now up onto the beginning of the 11th lap of this Grand Prix, as Dane leads the Grand Prix from Cohen and Volbeat. As now they're going to go onto the main straight, and there's a crash from the back. That's Plix. Plix is off the track, and down at the final corner some kind of trouble has gone on to the Mercedes driver. He's fallen way back. This race has been a disaster for the Mercedes driver. He's spun out in Sector 3, manages to keep going though. No safety cars, no stopping the race. He's still going with all the action of this race so far. So now we are in the 11th lap out of 26. Volbeat, if he can get a decent getaway from Beckett, he might be able to do an overtake onto Stowe, but he's really far from Cohen. He's not going to be able to do a move. Cohen was able to build a gap over the course of the last lap, and that was brilliant by the Williams driver. So staying ahead for one more lap, as they are getting close to Valentino down into 1st place. So Cohen getting really close to Valentino. It's a 1.4 gap. He's still not in the DRS, but he's getting closer. The gap was in 2 seconds the other lap. As we see Tony and one out softs. Still yet to be. He's the only driver on softs yet to pit on this race. As D's closing up on him. think Tony's gonna pit quite shortly for another set of medium tires, as the race going quite normally right now. All the drivers have got quite a little gap between themselves, except for this battle here for 5th place. The battle for 3rd now, Cohen was able to get a little distance from the Toro Rosso, so I don't think the Toro Rosso can go for a move on this lap. The DRS is open, but he's not close enough for an overtake on Cohen. And look at the gap closing between Valentino and Cohen. Cohen's shortly going to get DRS from the Haas driver, as Tony finally pulls into the pits after 11 laps on those soft tires. Sam will go up onto the lead shortly of this race, and I wonder what's the gap between Sam and Valentino. The gap is about 10 seconds, and the yellow flag's in sector 1. Well, I don't see anything going on between the drivers in sector 1. However, Sam is really close to those drivers ahead. And what's happened? The time of day. He's gone off somewhere. He's lost a lot of time. He's already pitted, and he's just getting overtaken by the Ferrari of Linux. And Linux goes up into 6th. And Amadi must have spun somewhere, so that he lost too much time on a possible spin. There's a gap 8/10 between Cohen and Valentino. The battle is on for P1 at the moment. Provisional lead of the race. Getting really wide, the Haas of Danestar, and locking up is Cohen. If he can close the gap on the Haas, that should be really good for him. It's now 5/10 of a second. If he can close up on these corners, might just go for an overtake on Brooklands. We'll see what's the gap after this corner between those two drivers. Is that close enough for an overtake? The DRS is open. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. Going down the inside and manages to get clear of Valentino. But Valentino's coming back around the outside onto Loffield. And Valentino gets back onto the position. Brilliant crossover move by the Haas driver. And he moves up into 1st place again. Now Cohen on the slipstream of Valentino is probably going to go for an overtake at the Hanger Straight. It's now through Maggots and Beckett's. It's now a battle of who gets the best exit after Beckett's. And Valentino's built quite a gap, but Cohen is going for it again. He's going down the inside into Stowe, and this time he's done it, and avoiding the Haas can get through again, and Cohen into the lead of the British Grand Prix, although Sam is only 8 seconds behind. There's been a battle for 6th place. No, that's just D going into the pits after 13 laps done on this set of tyres. So he's going to go for quite a long stint on the softs. That's quite an early stop for him, as the yellows in sector 3. There's one of the Mercedes that splits once again, and is coming back into the track now in absolute last position. Has he got damage to his car? No, he hasn't. So we've seen all kinds of action today. Only thing missing is a safety car to complement this race, but it's looking to be a really good one. As look at the top 3 closed up on each other. This might not be the battle for the actual win, as Sam has already pitted. for the fresh tires. But this is a really interesting battle as Frayne is disconnected from 4th place. Sam goes through him, and the battle for first is still going on. Sam now 7 seconds behind the leaders, and this is heartbreaking for Frayne. He was in position to get some good points. Not gonna happen with this disconnection. And he's going really slowly. He's rejoined the session, but this is going to be frustrating for him. He's going to lose out the place to Venom shortly, as Venom got past Linux for provisional 2nd place, and the McLaren now will look set to get the position away from Frayne. Tim also has not pitted, as he did the drive-through before. And Frayne now, is he back to the driver's seat? Has he taken control of his car already? He's getting passed by everyone out here. So the battle for P1 still ongoing. Dane is quite close to the Williams. If he can be that close over the next straight, Dane might just get a good chance of overtaking onto the Hanger straight. He's really close to the Williams. Well, we've seen the straight speed of that car. Something with the setup does not give him a lot of straight speed. Is he going to go for a move? No, he's not. He backs off. Volbeat still not close enough to do a move in either of those drivers. As Frayne loses yet another position, he's back. He's finally back and down in 10th, just ahead of Tim. They're both yet to pit, and I wonder what, now all the top 3 has gone into the pits, and something has happened. And Tim now finally into the pits as Frayne's disconnected again. Oh dear, that's a disaster for the Ferrari of Frayne. And now those 3 that were fighting for P1, they're probably going to come out in the points. Cohen is already out to the pits. They're all out. Volbeat not on the points in 11th position. Tim is going to go out in 14th, sorry, as a compassion goes through. So Linux really close to the McLaren of Venom as they go around into Cobbs, the Ferrari driver, with really some good speed and may be able to overtake the McLaren of Venom as they go around into Maggots and Beckett's. What's the gap going to be at the end of the corners? That's 4/10 separating them. Is he closing up for a move? No, he's not. He backs off for one more lap. There's probably also something with the setup that's making Venom faster on the straights, so the Venom could defend easily the position away from the Ferrari. So Volbeat now really close to Dane in the battle for 10th place. So Sam into the lead of the race, and he's got a reasonable gap to the drivers behind, and if nothing happens, such a safety car, he is looking set to win the race. But he has a penalty though for multiple warnings. Should that cost him? We're just going to see how many penalties does Venom have. Venom also has a penalty and close to the second one. Linux does not have a penalty yet. So, but Sam should have a 3-second penalty, which is not going to take his win out or nothing similar. So Frayne's still disconnected from the session. So Matt is now really close to those drivers. This is the battle for second place. It's getting intense here. It's a battle for the podium as well around here between Venom, Linux and Matt. as they go down into the chicane. So out into the first sector comes Linux, Venom in second place. Are going to take some time to read your comments shortly. We're just going to see out for this straight. Is the Ferrari close enough to do a move at the end of the straight? As no, he's not. So backs off for one more lap, down in third position. So Matt, 4 tenths behind those drivers at the top. So Sam now 4.5 is the gap between him and Venom. He needs to keep it on a good margin so that it can be safe as to penalties. Linux close to Venom, not close enough for a move though. So we're just going to look at how the field is stacking up and how are the championship standings going to be if the positions stay the same. As something's happened to Linux. He's battling there with Matt. They've gone together and Matt has spun around. Oh, and they collided. Matt and Flip Flop Fish have collided as Matt was trying to reverse back to the track. He's got a 5-second penalty for it. So that is a huge collision between those two drivers. Now that is a race nearly over for those two, as they've got a lot of damage right now. Actually, Matt does not have much, but he has some warm-up tires. And this is the only big collision we've had so far over this race, and this is a disaster for both drivers. They were both fighting for a possible podium, and it all goes wrong in a matter of seconds as Matt goes still in 6th position, Flip-Flop Fish down in 11th, and now out to the points. He's lost a big part of his front wing on that heavy collision, and I do feel bad about it, as and Linux has got a penalty. That's his first penalty of the race, and that kind of guarantees first place for Sam, as on penalties he could only lose up on he could only lose up on Linux, who did not have a penalty. So the yellow flag's in sector 3, and that is Cohen. Cohen's gone off. Cohen went off the track, and Volbeek's into the pits. He's got a penalty for speeding. So they've both collided, and Volbeek's left the session. I wonder if Cohen has got any damage to his car. They've both come together. He's apparently got damage to his front wing, as we can see a lot of traction on the first corner. If the game could show the front wing, that would be really good for us, but unfortunately that's not gonna happen for the time being. Now they are showing us from quite far. No wing damage as far as we can see, so his car is still clean. As we're looking up to the standings right now, how is everything going to be for F2? Tim was onto the lead from Matt, but he's out to the points. Matt is in 6th position with a 5-second penalty. So, but the gap was 16 seconds. That was quite a safe gap for these drivers. And look at the battle for second place. Linux and Venom. Venom has pushed off the Ferrari, and apparently Linux has got to back off a little bit and wait for another lap to maybe have another go. So who is being benefited from this race in terms of standings, who's really being benefited, is Gavin in P4, who with those points and counting Tony's points as well, he may go up into a third position on the standings, which is brilliant and really helpful for him. As to the current conditions, as we've seen, Sam is not on the standings. So Sam apparently has no points. We're going to check out again, yeah. So Sam, this is going to be his first point in F2. Venom has 40 points so far. If he can get those 18 points and keep them until the flag, he can move up, and he can move up some position on the standings. But look how close is Lionix and Venom. Lionix going around the outside into Stowe, has to back off once again. Now he's going for the crossover move. He's got more power, heading into the chicane, going into club, and he's still quite far from each other. He's got the clean line though, Lionix. Is he close enough for a move? No, he's not. Brilliant defending from the McLaren, avoiding an overtake once again by the Ferrari driver. So Matt and Tony are fighting and wobbling around for position, and this could be important for the championship as they are in second and third respectively on the standings. So out into the DRS is Lionix. So Venom's still defending, and he's got a 3-second gap to Sam. I wonder how is he in penalties? He's only 3 seconds. How about Sam? Sam has apparently 1 penalty as well. Yeah, 1 penalty for Sam and 1 for Venom. Venom is closer to a second one than Sam, so it should be head to head on track if he wants to get the position, as they're coming out to a lap car, and that is Frayne, who's left the session some time ago. So Tim is now really close to the points, and this can be important in terms of standings. So there is a battle going on for 5th between Leroy, Matt and Tony. Dane is also closing up on that battle on those soft tyres. Cohen, with that collision, he's gone far from Dane. And we've got 3 more laps to go. 3 more laps of this amazing race. As you can see, Sam doing his race so far, going all by himself. With the yellow flags in sector 3 all cleared up already. So Sam, 3.7 second gap between him and Venom. He's just gonna keep himself on track to get the win. So Lionix has now really closed this time around, and he's going to open the DRS. He's close. He's less than 3/10 from the McLaren. Where is he going to go, inside or outside? Goes around the long way into Stowe, and Venom will not give the position away. They're both really fighting for it. It's going to be 2 laps to go, and they cross the line as we see Venom locking up, but nowhere to go for Lionix, nowhere to try and overtake. Brilliant defending once more from the McLaren. As you can see, the battle for 5th is still ongoing, as now Dane is arriving on the battle. He's arriving on the scene. He's still 7/10 far, but he's got 3/10 only in the last lap. So if he can get close enough this time around, Lionix is really close to Venom the whole race, but the straight line speed is costing him, and he's losing out a lot of time to the McLaren. So round they go once more. Lionix in 3rd position. As we can see, they're coming around into the final corners of Sector 2, coming out into Maggots and Beckett's. The gap for the lead already 4.1 seconds. Sam has got really safe gap to win this race. And how close is Linux going to be at the end of this, at the beginning of this straight? It's only 4/10. That is quite a distance that Venom was able to take, and he's not close enough for a move. So Venom keeps the position so far in second place. Linux still in third as Sam is going for the final lap of the race. He's opening it 26th lap out of 26, and 4.2 second gap, quite safe to the McLaren behind. It's going to be the final try for Linux if he wants to get second place in this race, and he's really close to the McLaren this time. And I wonder what is he going to be able to do. He's coming around onto the straight on the DRS. Is he going to go for a dive bomb? Not yet. He's still close to the McLaren, but not being able to do a move so far, as Linux still got to find somewhere to get past the McLaren ahead of him. And where is he going to go? Linux trying to find a gap to pass Venom as they come around into Maggots and Beckett's for one last time in this race. It'll be brilliant if Linux can get through on the last lap. It should be a brilliant battle up here on the stove for final lap of this race. Linux is going for around the outside on the final lap. Venom has nowhere to defend. He's going for a dive bomb. They've collided, and Linux is off the track. Linux is, oh dear, and that's a really dangerous dive bomb from Venom. And Sam goes round on the final corner to win the British Grand Prix. Did everything correct today, and Venom, after that dive bomb, I'm sure he's going to get an eye from the stewards as Gavin moves up to third provisionally after Linux getting pushed off. So Gavin on the podium places, Leroy in 5th, Dane Starr in 6th, Tony off the track in 7th, Matt in 8th, and Cohen's going to finish race in 9th, just ahead of Iron D, and D's going to go up into 8th after penalties. And how about Tim finishing the race, and the championship leader is able to get a point on the final exchanges of this race. Plix, and a really chaotic race for him. And oh, there's something wrong with him. Has he got a puncture? He might just have a puncture as he's closing to the line. Is he short on fuel? I wonder what's happened. Oh, he spun around, manages to make it. Oh dear. This car breaks down just after the race finishes, and Flip-Flop Fish collided there in Stowe. And Sam, brilliant win for the Racing Point driver, but Venom will get an eye from the stewards on that dive bomb on Linux after pushing him off the track. But what a race that was. That was a brilliant battle, brilliant race all the way until the end. Not many safety cars, as I said in the beginning, that they were going to be. However, that was a really spectacular race, and what a win for Sam, really dominating on this race. Got past the leaders on the opening laps and was able to maintain his lead throughout the race. So brilliant performance for those three drivers. Gavin managing to steal out a podium on the final laps, and on the final gasps after all the drama for second place. And that is it for round 9, the British Grand Prix. Sam wins, and he's got a 4-second gap to Venom at the end, and Gavin nearly got Venom at the end of the race. He might just get him on after the race penalties. Maybe Venom will get a penalty for that, but that was a really beautiful race from start to finish. I'll thank you all for watching this amazing race, and I'll see you for the next round. Until then, goodbye.